Hi guys, I'm Joanna Marie Ligasi from Plabay BMA and I'm here to discuss about text information and media. The topics that we will discuss in this video are all about creators of text information, classifications of text information, how text information is produced, assessing and evaluating text information, advantages of text information, limitations of text information, text as visual, types of typefaces, and lastly, design principles and elements. Definition of text information. Text information can be written in script using the Roman alphabet or a different script that is appropriate to the language of the reader. Text information or textual information can be written in the language most appropriate to the reader. For example, Japanese, Chinese, and Korean textbooks are using their own language. Creators of text information. Readers are influenced and persuaded by the power of written words. A reputable and well-organized material or written work is a collective effort between writers and members of the editorial team. Below are the several kinds of writers. First is author. Author is someone who writes books, stories, or articles on different kinds of topics. However, there is a difference in the focus of the writing. Usually, an author writes stories or articles that are lengthy like a novel. They are also connected to scholarly works, such as general references materials or textbooks. An author is someone whose work has already been published. Second is writer. A writer is more associated with writing literary works like poems and short stories. A writer is usually a person who writes stories or articles as an occupation, like a journalist, blogger, or screenwriter. Contributor. Like a writer, the contributor spends time writing articles about topics that are particular interest. Contributors can only submit articles depending on the theme or space available. Most writers work full-time in publication or publishing companies, but some work as freelance writers or contributors. A freelance writer is self-employed and is not connected to a specific publication or company. Columnist. Someone who writes and shares his opinion, insights, and commentaries about social or political issues. In a newspaper or a magazine, articles written by columnists appear on a regular basis. Even though columnists are free to express their opinion, they must abide by the professional code of ethics for journalists. This means that columnists should avoid using and making a biased and derogatory remarks. Blogger. A blogger is someone who writes personal opinions on topics or issues that interest them. Their work can be seen and read in online journals or websites. Rather than writing a column for a magazine or newspaper, a blogger shares their insights, ideas, reflections, experiences, and activities through a blog entry. Editor. Editor is someone who coordinates with the author or writer in planning, reviewing, and revising content for publication. In addition, an editor's task is to coordinate with the layout artist to ensure that all corrections are carried out from start to end. The editor also gives the final say to define the content of the written text. Publisher. A publisher is someone who is responsible for preparing, acquiring, and managing a publication. The publisher works with a team of writers, authors, and layout artists and decides on the type and theme of the material to be published. Classifications of text information. The different sources of text information was presented in the previous section. Print media such as books, newspapers, and magazines contain various information. Text information is classified into two: fiction and non-fiction. Fiction. Fiction refers to stories that are products of the writer's imagination. Fairy tales, mythologies, and legends are examples of fiction texts. Most works of fiction are considered as form of literature. Non-fiction. Text information is classified as non-fiction if it is based on facts and realities. Examples of non-fiction works are biographies, news, and scientific researches. Text information like this are often present in textbooks, encyclopedias, periodicals, and journals. How text information is produced. Text information is produced through the following steps. First, the writer selects a topic or an issue worth writing about. Second, the writer does a thorough gathering of information about the topic. Third, the writer constructs an outline of the topic and composes the draft. Fourth, the writer goes back to the draft and develops it into a full text. Lastly, fifth, the writer turns in the article to the editor or publisher. For articles in newspapers or magazines, the editor decides whether the material is worthy of publication based on the quality of the material and the publication house's style and theme. For manuscripts written for possible publication as textbooks or novel, the publisher usually has a team of reviewers who checks the quality of the manuscripts in terms of content and genre. If the manuscript gets the approval of the screening committee, it is forwarded to the editorial department and later endorsed for printing. Assessing and evaluating text information. The following criteria should be considered in assessing and evaluating text information. Accuracy and factuality. Text information should be precise and must be based on facts. It should be thoroughly researched and the data should be based on valid findings. Objectivity. Text information should not contain any biases, prejudice, or discrimination. If the material contains information favoring any side or groups, it must be discussed fairly and exhaustively. Language appropriateness. The level and kind of language should be appropriate for the target audience or readers. Curriculum alignment. The textbook material should be consistent with the curriculum and international standards prescribed. Style and format. Most books are based on the Chicago Manual of Style or CMOS when it comes to editorial concerns like capitalization, punctuation, and citation. On the other hand, academic papers follow the American Psychological Association or APA style. Newspapers follow a particular house style depending on the news agency to which they belong. Advantages and limitations of text information. Advantages of text information. First, text information covers a wide variety of topics. Second, one can access text information easily. Lastly, third, it is well researched and comprehensively discussed. Limitations of text information. First, the book should be updated regularly to ensure accuracy and timeliness. And text information can be lengthy, making it difficult or tiresome to read. Text as visual. A. The representation or style of a text in the digital format is called a typeface. B. A typeface, also referred as font type, or type, is usually composed of alphabets, numbers, punctuation marks, symbols, and other special characters. C. Different emotions and meanings are expressed when various font types are used. In case there is an absence of images and drawings, the easiest way to communicate to people is through text. Types of typefaces. First is serif. One common form of a typeface is called serif. It pertains to a short line at the top or bottom of some styles of printed letters. This kind of typeface entails familiarity and readability in large amounts of text. Some publications such as books, newspapers, magazines, and researchers normally use serif typeface for the body of the text. Serif fonts are also used to achieve a classic and elegant look in publications. Examples: Times New Roman, Garamond, and Baskerville. Sans serif. A typeface which does not contain serif in the letters is called sans serif. This typeface conveys a clean and minimalist look to the text. Road signages, building directories, and nutrition facts in food packaging use this typeface. Moreover, sans serif fonts are mainly used in designing web pages to achieve modern style look. Examples of sans serif are Arial, Helvetica, Tahoma, Vendina, and Calibri. Slav serif. A heavy and solid look to the text is expressed by Slav serif. Usually, large advertising signs on billboards are used the Slav serif typeface. Examples of sans serif are Rockwell, Playbill, and Black Coke. Script. The brush-like strokes of the script typeface draws people's attention to it. The reason behind why this font must be used sparingly must be given. Most formal events such as wedding or evening charity balls use the script typeface. Examples of script typeface are Edwardian, Vladimir, and Kanzler. Decorative. Display or decorative typeface are artistic and eye-catching since it can show a wide variety of emotions such as happiness, fear, horror, etc. Our decorative fonts also cater to various themes such as spaceships, carnivals, holidays, seasons, kiddie, etc. Examples of decorative typeface: Chiller, Jokerman, Curls Empty. Design principles and elements. Emphasis pertains to the force or intensity of expression which contributes to the importance or vivid impression to something. To do this, a text can be enlarged, be bold, or italicized, darkened, or lightened, or underlined. Appropriateness refers to how suitable or appropriate the text is for the target audience, intention, or purpose, or event. The selection criteria, tone, style, purpose, clarity should be followed in the creation of text-based content. The discussion of font characteristics must be considered when choosing the typefaces to be used in an output. Large bodies of text must use fonts which are readable and clear. Proximity refers to the distance of text elements from each other. Things that are closely related should be brought together. Otherwise, text elements should be placed far from each other. For example, the placements of the main title and subtitle are usually close to each other. Alignment refers to the proper positioning or state of adjustment of parts in relation to each other, or Merriam-Webster dictionary. The text position in the page can be left, right, center, or justified. Organization refers to the act or process of organizing various elements of text in a page. Although elements of text are sorted away from each other based on the principle of proximity, the organization sees to it that somehow they are still connected with the rest of the elements in the page. Repetition. The unity of the entire design and consistency of elements are the concerns of repetition. The repetition of some typefaces within the page are encouraged. However, when various typefaces are used on a page, it might result in distraction and failure to communicate the content of the text. Contrast refers to the degree of difference between things having similar and comparable natures, or Merriam-Webster dictionary. Visual interest in the text elements is generated by contrast. Contrast can be achieved when we combine the following elements like large fonts with small fonts, serif and sans serif, thin and thick elements, and warm and cool colors. That's all. Thank you for listening. I hope you learn a lot from this PPT. Keep safe and God bless us all. Spread love! Again, this is Joanna Marie Legaspi from 12ABMA.